Today I'm going to be animating the second part of this shot, which means I'll be animating these two things in particular. So to start off, I turned these off so I can't actually select these, so I can't accidentally move anything and forget to put it back or anything like that. So it's just these two things that I can select, and also the armature here. So obviously after I put it in, the main problem was that obviously this is in frame for the first shot, which I don't want, so I need to set the starting positions for them both. So for this, I'll probably have it about this height inside the claw, so the claw doesn't stretch down or stretch up too much to reach it. And then I'll have to move these both up so that you can't see them. So that's about right. So if I set that as the starting position, I can then turn off this so I can, actually see it, animate it. Maybe move them up a bit actually, just so I can bring that down a little bit. Right, now I want to make this actually grab onto that. So I'll get the controller bone here, and I can use grab, shift, X, so it can't move on the X axis. Move it into grab. As you can see, it's not actually grabbing it because it's not centered. So I'll have to do some adjusting. About there. That doesn't have to. I'll have to try and avoid it from clipping inside. You see, it does go slightly inside of it, but from how far away you are, you'll never really notice that, will you? Same on the other side. It's quite. I think it's a bit better on the other side. So that's the starting position. So I will have to go onto here. Actually, no, that's fine for now. So if I go out of pose mode, it should stay like that. And the first thing it needs to do is lower down. So I turn it on. You still can't see it. So first, because the armature is parented to this, if I move this, it'll move with it, but I can still move it separately and animate it. So if I go into camera view and move this, well, I'll start moving this downwards first because this is the one that needs to be placed inside accurately. Because if I move this down to there, I'll have no idea how far in this needs to go. So it's easier if I do this one first. So if I set its location as that, add a keyframe there, and say 2 seconds, 2 second gap, put it down, and about there looks right. I can always adjust it whenever I want, but that should be fine. That. So then that can be set there. Now over these 2 seconds, it'll move down like that. And something that is important is because as default, it sets as a Bezier, or whatever you call it, keyframe type. So as you can see, it starts a little bit slow and then gains speed and then slows down again. And the claw won't be doing that because I want it to obviously look robotic because it is a claw. What needs to happen is this needs to start moving instantly and stop moving instantly. So if I just click on here, select both of these, click T and linear, it makes a constant movement. So as you can see, it doesn't slow down or stop. It stops suddenly, which is what I want it to do, and it starts instantly. So then that's more robotic. So then the claw can have the same kind of movement coming down. So the easiest way for me to do this would be to copy and paste these keyframes, which I'm hoping I can do. So if I go here and paste, no. Well, this makes it a bit harder. So instead, I can use so that I can click off that, set a keyframe here, so that's the starting position. Go to 2 seconds, which is again 48. Bring it, so if I click grab and then Z, I can bring it down. And I want to place it as accurately as possible as its starting position. So right there, it's about, so if I go up a bit, it clips a bit too much. If I go down, it doesn't do that. It was about there. Okay, so that is pretty accurate on where its starting position was. So now if I play this, it should look like they're moving downwards together. So, well, it looks like that. Wait, that obviously looks very weird. That's because I never changed these to the linear type, so it's not instant. So if I do it now, as you can see, you can kind of see a bit of movement, a bit of like change in the distance. So if I zoom in, if I do it frame by frame, there is a slight there, it goes quite low there. But apart from that, in the actual animation, it shouldn't be noticeable. You know, so if I turn the pipe on and play this, can't see it, and then it comes down and goes into it like that. And then obviously it does start a bit early, but for the editing week next week, I can make it so there'll be a frame here. So this first frame where you can't see it, I can extend this frame so that the burger falls down, it bounces for a second, it stops moving, and then after 1 or 2 seconds or however long I want, and then this animation will start playing, and it'll, so it won't look so rushed. There'll be like brief gaps between each kind of step of it. So there, if I play that, goes inside, it's quite nice. See if it'll play here without lagging too much. Yeah, it does look a bit weird there because that's the bone sticking through, but in the actual thing that should be fine. I can change the distance here. Something I could do as sort of like a backup is if I wanted to slow this animation down, I wouldn't really be able to here because I've only got 48 frames. So if I slowed it down here, it would look, choppy, and it would it would look like it was lagging. So if I make this animation longer, it actually gives me more freedom because I have more frames to kind of go through if I speed it up, or slow it down, so it won't look laggy, and it won't look sped up because it won't be as fast. So if I want, I can increase this, but I think I'm kind of happy with where it is now. That's the wrong button. I have no idea what I've just clicked. Was it C? Right, there we go. Yeah, I'm quite happy with what it does now. Maybe it could be a bit slower though, so we'll have to do them separately. So if I bring this up to 72, and then this one also has to go to 72, and there, so that should be about, however extra distance that is slower, about a third slower, I'd say. No, it's 0.5 slower. Yeah, so that's a good speed, I think, and I can slow it down and speed up a bit if I want, because it's a longer animation. I've got more frames to work with. And then obviously, so now I want a bit of a pause, so I can use Shift D to duplicate this frame. I could again use the method of just copying, of reaching the gap with a single frame, because this frame's static. I could just use frame 72, and in the editing week I could just, unlike my timeline of the edit, I could extend it out so it looks like there's longer delay, because the frames are perfectly still. You wouldn't notice it at all. But for the sake of making the animation, I may as well duplicate it to at least that distance. Well, I'll see. I'll play around with it a bit and see how. So if I duplicate that, you can see it's, you know, it's orange because it's static to show that there's no change there. So if I play it like that, you know, that delay will be, I think it could go a bit longer, so about to there, I'd say. Same here. Bring it over to there. And then if I want to change it later on, I can just select this keyframe and any that are along this way, and it'll, you know, that'll change the whole speed of them. So now is the much more complicated part, where I have to actually animate the claw. It's not that much more complicated, but it also is because it's to do with bones. So first of all, I need to go into edit mode. I don't know if I'm in the right frame. Wait a minute. Right, so I need to be on frame 90 to start this. So I go here, pose mode, and I select this bone here. So if I, well, say if I go forwards a frame, and then forwards a few frames, grab it out a bit, see, that's not going to do anything. Is it this one, I think, actually? So forwards a few, yeah, right, yeah. So I was putting keyframes on the location of the whole armature instead of the bone there that I've got selected, the controller there. So right, so frame 90 is my starting point for the animation. So first I will set the starting keyframe here, so that stays the same. And then all I really want it to do, keep it simple, is just move out like that, you know. I could, if I want to do it very accurately, I could scale it on the on the y-axis, and that, you know, goes along. Oh no, it doesn't, never mind. That, it would do that if I was in edit mode, but with animating that doesn't work. So what I can do is GY, and that would, you know, work the same. So that's a much more like accurate movement, which is what I'll probably use. So that's the starting frame. I'll take it to 102 because I don't want it to be, I want it to be noticeable, but not like a really slow thing where it takes ages doing a tiny movement. You know, there's not much point doing that. So GY, it releases it. You can, I want it to be quite an amount that you can see. You know, you can see it move. So I'll bring it out there. But now it looks a bit squashed, I think. You know, it looks a bit flattened upwards, if you know what I mean. So to make it look a bit more natural, like a sort of resting pose, I'll bring it down there, just like that, and then I can set this as the thing. So let's have a look at that again, and boom, it's smooth, it's accurate, but what is missing is, it is missing the the constant movement. So if I set linear, it starts instantly and it stops instantly, which it's very subtle, but it makes it look more robotic, you know, if you're looking at details and stuff like that. So that way it's noticeable movement. I will add sound effects, like a sort of motor kind of noise to kind of, you know, show it more, make it more noticeable, add more detail. And then if I want to make it longer or shorter, I can just drag across there. But yeah, that should be fine for now. I can always edit it later. So if I go back here, object mode, watch it, and yeah, just like that. And then the next step, which is a bit more complicated on timing, because I'm pretty sure my claw movement ran to there. Yeah, so after this point, I'll have another gap here. Let's see, how long do I want? Probably about there, I'd say. And I don't need to animate that this time because it's been left there, you know. So here, I want to set another location keyframe, which is a bit pointless, but it kind of, I could just, you know, delete that one and duplicate that one and move it over there. But if I keep it here, it's kind of more of a marker point for me, so I know like what's where, which is quite useful actually. So after that, I want to start moving up again. So, so I do Shift, grab Z, grab it upwards, move it up there so it's not visible, and set another keyframe. So now, so that's quite fast. So how long was the original? The original was, it moved a lot more in the first part of it, but it was 72 frames. So this needs to be a lot longer because this is going to look weird. Yeah, it's way too fast compared to the start of it. So to make it look more similar and, you know, realistic to how it has been moving so far, I want to give it a slower animation, maybe even a bit slower than that, to be honest. Yeah, that seems a bit better. And then again, I can set these to linear to make it more robotic and instant.